That's the Red Tree Singers. They are drumming, singing, chanting, praying, and opening up day 3 of the Hemp Building Symposium. And this is the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast. This is the 3rd and final installment of our Cansayapi Trilogy, where we are sharing tales from the 13th International Hemp Building Symposium, held this year in Minnesota at the Lower Sioux Indian Community, where the tribe hosted 3 days of education, celebration, and inspiration. Hi there, my name is Eric Herlock. Welcome back to the Hemp Show. So, I think I've figured it out. Yeah, I've figured out how to travel through time. All you need is a podcast. Check this out. Look, I'm still in Minnesota. It's still October 5th, 2025. The symposium opened with drumming and singing and chanting, as we heard. And do you remember a couple episodes ago in part 1 when I mentioned this trio of architects from Minnesota, how they successfully made changes to the state building code to allow for hemp-lime construction and straw bale construction? Do you remember that? Well, these architects, Janneke Schaap, Simona Fischer, and Koosmann, they were the first presenters of day 3. So right after this quick sponsor break and a news nugget update from hemptoday.net, we're going to start right there. What these women presented is a blueprint for how people in other states can accomplish what they accomplished. Because that's really what you need to do, state by state. Anyway, more on all of that after this break. Plus, I'm going to introduce you to a lot of interesting people from the world of hemp-lime construction who were at this event. So, are you ready? Here we go. This episode is made possible with support from I&D Hemp in Fort Benton, Montana, where they believe in the goodness of hemp. Check out what they're doing at indhemp.com. And also made possible with support from HEMI, the Hemp Education and Marketing Initiative. Find out what industrial hemp can do for your business at hempinitiatives.org. And support also comes to us from American Cast Hemp, right here in Pennsylvania, from the beautiful Lehigh Valley, where Cameron and Melissa McIntosh are building an amazing model of circularity, reciprocity, and education. Check them out at american.com. And finally, many thanks to Sunray Hemp up there at 62 degrees north in Palmer, Alaska, where Ray DePriest is always making hay when the sun shines. My trip to Cansayapi, there and back again, was made possible with support from Ray. Thank you so much, Ray. Okay, so I've got one nugget of hemp news here for you this very last week of October or first week of November 2025. This comes to us from our friends over there at HempToday. Check them out at hemptoday.net. So here it is. State Attorneys General call for crackdown on Frankenstein hemp products. A bipartisan coalition of 39 state and territorial attorneys general is urging Congress to close the 2018 Farm Bill loophole that has allowed intoxicating hemp derivatives to flood the market. In a letter to congressional leaders, the AGs describe the spread of Frankenstein THC products that get adults high and harm and even kill children, calling the synthetic THC industry a foundation of illicit conduct. The group stops short of calling for a full ban, but asks Congress to rewrite the federal definition of hemp so that psychoactive compounds made from hemp are treated as controlled substances. The letter stresses that legitimate hemp uses, fiber, grain, and hurd, would not be affected. The AGs warn that conflating hemp with intoxicating cannabinoids threatens public safety and undermines investment in agricultural and industrial applications. The appeal lands as Congress debates hemp provisions in the Farm Bill and agriculture appropriations measures. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell supports language that would ban consumable products containing quantifiable THC,
industrial hemp,
while Senator Rand Paul is advancing a competing proposal, the Hemp Act, which would protect consumable hemp products and raise allowable THC limits. Leading the efforts are Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin, Connecticut's William Tong, Indiana's Todd Rokita, and Minnesota's Keith Ellison, joined by attorneys general from 35 other states and territories. So I've got the link to this story on the show page for the episode at lancasterfarming.com. Go there, click on it. And also click on the links to our sponsors. Thanks to our sponsors. All right, let's get back to the symposium. It's Sunday morning. It's day 3 of the 13th International Hemp Building Symposium. The wind is still blowing. The drummers have just finished drumming. And the first presenters of the day are the trio of architects from Minnesota that I mentioned earlier. Janneke Schaap, Simona Fischer, and Anna Koosmann. They were joined on stage by Danny Desjardins, and they told the story of how they are changing the building codes in Minnesota to allow for hemp-lime and straw bale construction. Because building codes in the U.S. are adopted state by state, the team's presentation is valuable not just for what they achieved, but for showing exactly how to do it. A practical, step-by-step example that anyone in any other state could follow to get hemp and straw bale construction legally recognized where they live. Their journey revealed what it takes to move natural building materials from passion projects into policy.
So, thanks all for coming this morning to hear about our code journey.
That focus on what code officials actually regulate was key.
If you fold best practices into code, that creates a baseline that is higher than is technically necessary, and that creates a burden for people wanting to use the system. So, dial it back, not best practices. Code is a minimum standard for construction. It is literally the worst building you can build that won't kill you, right? Is how they say.
When the team's first submission met skepticism, they adjusted.
Okay, so the strategy we really thought about was how do we soothe people? How do we calm them down? How do we show them that we can de-risk this so that they can understand that this can be done for themselves?
They also connected it to something familiar.
Basically, I just talked about how if we adopt these codes, then it will bolster Minnesota's ag department, our ag industry. Minnesota farmers need this. Minnesota needs this.
Their persistence paid off.
So we did it! Yay! It's not final. It is. What happened is the technical advisory group voted to move it forward, and so that's the first and most important step. If that doesn't happen, it doesn't go. So we did that. Feels awesome. Next step is early 2026. The Construction Codes Advisory Council reviews recommendations that the TAG makes. Then it goes out for public comment. So hopefully, if this all goes well, we will be able to build with these appendices in, starting when this code is adopted in 2027. Please let us know if our language would be helpful for you, and we will share it out.
That open invitation to share their language, their research, and their approach turns a Minnesota win into a national roadmap. So that was how it started. The morning was then full of amazing presentations, which, from what I understand, will be available through the International Hemp Building Association's website. You get a membership, you can have access to all of these presentations. What you're about to hear from this point on the show are my interviews with people who were there. Some of these folks were presenters, some of them were just attendees, but everybody has a story, and I love talking to people.
Poso Maniwiak, Nakato Manowich, Kikitim, Kispisoma Cake, Nit Akayan, Mashik, Nuiswan, Marcus, Greeno. Hello everyone, I'm going to speak. My people know me as Kispisoma Cake or Swift Otter and was named Marcus Greeno by my parents.
It's good to see you again. I saw you here at the ribbon cutting last year. So how's this symposium going for you?
Oh, it's amazing. I think the biggest thing that drew me here was the fact that this is the first one ever in America and, well, the U.S., and it's the first one that is actually on an Indian reservation. What's interesting is, obviously, like, how I got into the hemp game is really it came from a Lakota, Dakota background in the sense that, like, Alex Whiteplume inspired me. John Trudell gave me the keys to run Hempstead Project Heart. And what's really even more powerful is the fact that John's not too far from here where he's buried. So, like, we're in a space where it's supposed to be right. The synergies have come together.
So you're saying it's not a coincidence at all that this event, this international event, this 13th annual international event is happening here at the home of the Lower Sioux?
No, definitely not. And I think the biggest thing really is, like, Danny coming into the picture in Lower Sioux here and really doing a lot of the work to promote hemp building materials is really not only motivated, encouraged, inspired the rest of the hemp industry, but it's actually gotten Indian country like turned up to be like, oh, this is really interesting. I mean, even back home on my reservation, like, hemp was like 50-50 thing because we got raided in 2015, and then like we're slowly educating them and everyone's coming around to the idea. But the fact that we have like consultants coming in and pitching presentations to the tribe, and they're like, you Menominee could be building hemp building materials, and I'm just like, I mean, yeah, it's Lower Sioux too, but I think we could see a collaboration. Like, that's the whole thing really, is a native, non-native alliance that really reinvigorates the hemp industry here in America.
Tell me a little bit about your home reservation.
Yeah, so I live on the Menominee Indian Reservation, Wisconsin. It is the largest reservation east of the Mississippi. We have just under 250,000 acres of sustainable forest. You can actually Google Earth the Menominee Indian Reservation. You can see it from space.
A couple of years ago, I heard Winona LaDuke give a presentation at NOCO, and she talked about prophecy. Can you offer anything about prophecy here, and maybe what's happening here? Is it connected at all?
Well, I think the biggest thing wouldn't necessarily be prophecy. It would be more so carrying the torch, because for generations in Indian country, there's been a lot of folks that have been pushing for this whole idea of self-determination. And I see hemp as a tool for us to achieve self-determination on Indian country land. And I think that it's really, we look back at the 60s and 70s and all the different civil rights movements that came about, for both Black and Native and Hispanic. And I think that the biggest thing that I'm noticing is that they got old and they passed on their torch, So like when I think about myself as a young person that came in after everybody tried to do what they could back in the day, it's like I'm just picking up another torch and kind of running with it and seeing if we can be successful. And if I'm not successful, it's the next generation. And I think that's the most powerful thing you can do on this earth right now, is really just create as many torches as you can so that the next generation can pick it up and run with it, because that's what it's all about. That's what the human spirit's about. As we're moving forward, we're always perpetuating, we're evolving. We're not revolutionaries, we're evolutionaries. The evolutionary is always moving, always adapting, always moving things forward.
Thank you for saying that. Here with it being international, to me it seems like there's a lot of Europeans here. What's been your experience here, like maybe talking to some of the folks from Europe, or just watching their reactions to sort of what they're learning here?
I think it's a very interesting international gathering of the minds, because I feel like people are motivating, encouraging, inspire another folks maybe from France, and other folks are coming from, Austria, or inspiring people from here in America. And it's just like all this talk, knowledge, potential collaborations, I think is really amazing, because I think internationally, like, they've done it for so long. We've been outlawed for, over 75 years. And so it's like now we have the opportunity to have our European and other international brothers and sisters coming over to teach us and be like, hey, this is how we did it. This is how we were successful. I think that's the real gift to it, is the fact that they're so open and willing to talk to us.
Ira Vandiver, Navajo Nation, New Mexico, Turquoise Indigo Fibers, and I'm here with the Indigenous Hemp and Cannabis Farmers Cooperative.
Tell me a bit about that.
This is the first year that we've been able to bring a bunch of tribes together right before the International Hemp Symposium. So Winona LaDuke organized a meeting, and we had about maybe 12 tribes show up. And what we're trying to do is to open up all the indigenous trade routes from north to south. And my brother and I, Bobby Chersposi and Ian Vio, came up representing Tierra Libre Builders, as well as our weaving and textile companies. And we wanted to offer the Danny Diarle and the Lower Sioux our indigenous support and be there for them. And kind of back him up. And now we're meeting all these different people and getting all these different business contacts, and that's kind of what we're doing.
All right. Tell me a little bit more about the meeting. Like, was there an agenda? Like, was Winona kind of leading that meeting?
Actually, Winona has done an amazing thing of kind of passing it down to the younger generations to kind of take the lead. We had John Trudell's son there. We had people from the Southwest there. We had other younger people from other tribes, and she kind of just sat back and let us go. And our main specific goal was to create a federation of cooperatives, and all that federation would do is start to GIS map who's doing what, who has what, all based around agriculture and farming.
That's awesome. I've heard Winona speak about prophecy. What does that word mean when you think about what Danny and the crew are doing here?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we opened up with our prayers in the meeting before this happened was we shared this chanupa, this peace pipe from this pipestone place from here. And when I was smoking, I was like, got this really crazy vision. I was like, man, we're going to see this International Hemp Symposium. And the French came to this area and resource extracted and raped and pillaged and killed animals and intermarried and brought their religion. And I think the prophecy that people are talking about, a specific example is now the French are here 7 generations later, and they're teaching about building, they're teaching about growing, they're teaching about, creating our own economic and food systems. And that opens up a huge door for reconciliation and healing. And the prophecy isn't necessarily that the world's going to end, but it's a new beginning of the indigenous people taking control and leading again.
Talk a little bit about how what they're doing here is just that.
Oh, man. Yesterday, I was blown away and almost to tears. We've got people talking about the sacredness of building a home, and the home that you build, the materials that go into it have to be done in a good way, where it's not mass production and it's not anything other than your family and your community building this home with you together and using good quality materials. And we walked in here. The start of the whole conference was a drum circle. They're singing and praying in their language. The first person to speak speaks in their language, and that sacredness ties us back to the land and these materials that we're about to use.
I'm Tom Noust, representing Root Down Building Collective from Charleston, South Carolina.
Now I have to ask, is that a Beastie Boys reference? Like, how you gonna kick it root down?
We're going to have to check in with April McGill, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's a Beastie Boys reference.
I hope it is.
Me too, kind of.
Anyway, so tell me a little bit about why you're here and what you're getting out of this symposium.
Yeah, so the Root Down Building Collective is now a official 501c3 nonprofit as of 2 years ago. So we've been in the natural building space for 10 years doing cob oven workshops and building rammed earth bus stops around town and just kind of, working with the materials. April is an architect, and she built a few rammed earth homes in Charleston and then found hemp-lime and immediately dove in headfirst because the material seemed to be perfect for our super hot and humid climate. So we have built a 300 square foot pilot project with 52 sensors embedded in the wall. So we're going to have some building data about how the material performs in a hot, humid southern climate. We did 8-inch thick cast in place walls with a 3-coat lime plaster inside, and did 2 different wall systems on the outside, 1 3-coat lime plaster, and then just a vapor barrier, rain screen, and T111 on a few walls. And hemp bats on the bottom of the framing for the floor framing, and hemp bats in the ceiling as well.
And where is that again?
That is at April's house in her backyard in Charleston, South Carolina on James Island.
That sounds like I'm going to need to take a road trip.
Yes, you have to come visit.
All right. That's exciting. We'll keep in touch and we'll hear more about that. How, symposium-wise, to you, what is the significance of this International Hemp Building event being held here in the Lower Sioux community?
I guess I'll start with our connection with Danny and the Lower Sioux. So in 2022, a gentleman named Joel Caldwell was hired to direct a film called The Green Buffalo for Patagonia, and he happens to live in Charleston, South Carolina. So he immediately went on the internet and Googled what the hell is hempcrete and saw that there was a hemp conference being held in Charleston. April McGill and the Root Down Building Collective, we put on a hemp conference in 2022. We had Chris Magwood come down from Canada. David Camby, who's opening a production facility in North Carolina, came down. He supplied the hemp for Lumberton, yep, biofill. And then, we built a bunch of test walls and got people's hands in the material. We had 75 participants from all over the country. It was a huge success. And Joel came and documented it and told us, hey, I'm making a documentary film about this guy, Danny Desjarlais, who lives in the Lower Sioux community in Minnesota. So we got super excited about that. Joel ended up doing a film screening in Charleston when the documentary was completed, and he flew Danny out. April and Danny sat on a panel discussion at the end of the film and got to meet Danny and connect with him. And when I found out about the conference, I was like, okay, let's go.
I'm Alex Sparrow from UK Hempcrete, and I have been working with Hempcrete for about 17 years now, with natural building materials, a few years longer than that. Right. And I've come out here to the Lower Sioux Reservation because obviously they're hosting the International Hemp Building Symposium, but also because they've been highly kind of influential, I guess, within the US in how they have built several hempcrete houses. But not only that, they've kind of vertically integrated their supply chain here in the community by farming, harvesting the hemp, and now bringing in some hemp processing machinery so they can create their own building materials. I had a very small part in that, so I consulted at the outset of the process on the design of the houses.
Right. And I heard you talking a minute before we started recording that you just spent a little time with Earl. He's the Earl of Hemp. I met Earl a few years ago. He's kind of the reason for the season here. And you mentioned that he asked you to sign a copy of your book.
Yes.
And just describe the condition of the book.
So it was possibly the most dog-eared copy of the Hempcrete book that I have ever come across, and that I think speaks to how well Earl has used it. It's kind of it's an honor to see a copy of the book that's clearly been read so many times.
And the effect that book clearly has on the world, right?
I hope so, yeah. I mean, certainly Earl was reminding me the first time he asked me to sign it in Ketchum, Idaho in 2019. He approached me in a bar to ask me to sign the book and managed to knock my beer over with the book. And I think I could still see in amongst the kind of tatty pages, I could still see the original beer stains from that time. And it's really nice to come back to the US or 6 years on and see what's happened, not just in the Lower Sioux community, but around the US, really, and see all of those things that were sparked by that conference 6 years ago.
I've heard a lot of people who were there, that was life-changing for a lot of people.
Yeah. And I've kept tabs, I was saying as well, it's really amazing how many friends I've made from that conference and people we've kept in touch with. And I've obviously done quite a bit of consulting work, mostly online, but it's really lovely to come back here and actually see some of the projects in person. And
from your English perspective, what's it like thinking about that this international symposium is held here in the U.S. but not really on U.S. soil?
somebody was saying to me, Steve's never done the conference in the US before. And I said, well, he still hasn't, right? We're in a different nation here. And yeah, to me, it's perfectly appropriate that we should be doing it in the Lower Sioux community. They've had, I think, partly through their kind of their situation as a community and their isolation, if you like, as a community historically, but also through their status as an independent nation, they have been able to do more quickly than people in the United States surrounding their nation, right? Because they don't have to comply with the same building codes. Yeah, they have a different, smaller political environment to deal with, and not that that's been easy, I don't think. But they have now been able to demonstrate those houses to the community, and they now have that groundswell of support behind them in the community to keep developing not just the housing but the hemp business, and to keep developing that as a really positive business opportunity and wealth building, community wealth building opportunity.
Right. And you may have noticed lots of other indigenous tribes here. So it seems like this is a concept, a movable concept that they're the example. I
hope so, yeah. And in theory, all of those tribes have that same opportunity, right? And the Lower Sioux, while they are in some ways kind of privileged in the sense of their wealth that they already have as a community, compared to other tribes actually have probably a lot more land at their disposal than the Lower Sioux. So I really hope that vision is picked up by other tribal communities, across the country, and that they take that forward. Okay. All
right, Alex Sparrow, one last question. Sparrow is a pirate name. Are you a bit of a pirate at all? Can you talk about your pirate?
Yeah, I am a bit of a pirate. I used to say when I was on the phone making an appointment, Sparrow as in Captain Jack. But I found that when I turned up in person, they were a little bit disappointed. So I no longer do that. But yeah, I'd encourage people to go out and read a book called Be More Pirate by Sam Conniff Allende. It's a blueprint, it's a manual for how the golden age of the pirates in the sort of early 1600s teaches us everything we need to know about how to take on the world and change what we're not happy with, and do that successfully, collaboratively, step outside of the status quo. If you don't like the status quo, you need to do it differently, and if you get it right, people will follow you. And then the status quo then has to adopt what you're doing and take it into the... So yeah, I'd encourage people to go out and find more about that. Google Be More Pirate and you'll find it.
All right, Alex Sparrow, it's an honor to talk to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gabriel Gauthier from Arcan Hemp Construction, and I'm based in Quebec near Danam. We have a shop where we do prefabricated hemp home, and also the architecture and design for this home with some model.
Okay. And you've been involved in building bio-based houses, hemp houses especially, for a fairly long time?
Oh, yes. I started my business in 2003, but also before I was learning in France, the years 98 to 2000. And since 20 years, I'm only do hemp building.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So talk about the method you use. I mean, here we've seen cast in place, and we've seen the panelization and the e-reezy spray. How do you approach building with hemp?
My principal approach actually is to do a precast hemp wall. They are made in the shop. They are 12 inches thick, 8 to 9 or 11 feet high, and could be 20 feet, 21 feet long.
Oh, wow.
So it's permit us to build a house in 1 day, 2 day, when we go on the site. And also we could build a home in the winter and deliver that early at spring. That's helped a lot to do more project, and then I can do all the construction in July.
Right.
We have a short-term season in Quebec, so yeah.
Here at this symposium, have you gotten some interesting questions from Americans about what to do?
Oh yeah, a lot of connection with some American. Then they want to see how I'm doing it, and maybe come in Quebec to see what we are doing there. And also, yeah, I'm doing also some restoration too of old building. This is my a part of the specialization that we develop. But yeah, the American was really interested about the whole work.
From your point of view, what still needs to happen here in the U.S. for hemp building? Like, what are we missing from your perspective?
Just a bit more knowledge and mobilization and education about the public, the people. More information about the public for all the benefit they could have for that. And also have a locally source of hemp that could help, because the transport don't make it that much ecologic. But yeah, we have to figure with more local development about the hemp growing and processing too.
Where are you sourcing your hemp herd from?
I have a source from France, actually. In Montreal, they come directly to Montreal. It's more ecologic than have some from Alberta or Montana or on continent.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of shipping costs?
Yeah, shipping boat. More than 500 kilometers is the same than a container from France for the carbon
That's interesting.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for sharing all of this with me. Anything you want to share about the symposium?
Oh, it was a great symposium, and I'm and with the Lower Sioux, it was fun to connect with this nation there, and other nation also was there. So yeah, I think it's good seed for the development of hemp construction in North America.
I'm Guillaume Delannoy. I'm working at FRD Codem, which is a technical center based in France, helping the development of biobased materials.
Okay, and did you present here?
Yeah.
Tell me about what you spoke about.
So I presented this morning about what we are doing with hemp. So we are doing some research and development on materials, but also developing some tools for farmers for following the rating. It's all about quality. Our main job is to be sure that hemp fibers or earths will go through the market, and what are the steps to go forward and to be sure that to get the good quality, to get the good markets. So it's really what we are working on, and I presented some research program that we are doing in France about the recognition of hydrothermal performances, because we know that it's a huge key point to work on to be sure that hempcrete can go further on buildings.
How has your experience here been at the Lower Sioux?
Really nice conversation with a lot of different guys, and it was really good to see how the community is working with hemp for long years now, and it's really it's pairing the energy that they put on to do some good stuff, and I think a lot has to be done to continue on the good work.
What has surprised you on your trip here to the U.S.?
I will say that will be about everyone knowing that they have to go on the market, and it's really difficult because they need to create something. So from our perspective in Europe, it's already quite seen that everyone wants to go fast, to do everything, and to buy some cheap machine. But we know that it's not working like that, and that takes maybe 10 years before you can get a new market, and you work on the quality of what we are producing. So, but it's the case for every industry. But because this hemp is so magical, people thought it will be easy because you can do everything with hemp. Yes, we did. You can do a lot of things, but that takes bricks, and you have to do bricks by bricks to be sure that it's on the market at the end, and you find some consumer at the end, some farmers at the beginning, and the junction between the farmers and the industry, it's a key point and has to be work on a lot.
Developed a bit more, All right, well, Guillaume, thank you very much. I hope you travel safely back home.
Thank you.
Hello, Mikola. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing all right?
So good to see you here.
Yeah. How's your symposium?
Fantastic. Being around all these people is freaking awesome. I'm starstruck. I'm excited. I'm everything. It's really awesome to be here and see all these people.
Yeah, well, I think you're among the stars now because I saw your presentation, and your energy is just what we all need. So
You
thank
mean
you for
how
that.
I cry, Eric? How I get all emotional.
I've cried a lot too over on this trip too.
It really is, right?
it's
It's when people
powerful.
are really passionate about it and you see how hard people have worked, what they've done to, I mean, just this house right here, this is
Let's
like,
talk about this. What do you got here?
this is like the Lower Sioux's blood, sweat, and tears, man. And they have like actually made a beautiful home for people to live in. It's what we all want to do. They're doing the work that we just all want to be doing. It's so exciting to see it.
Yeah. What is there something that you can take away from this that like immediately you'll put into practice when you get home?
Oh, wow. I think I really love how they have such a sense of community here and everybody's involved in the building. I just want to see how I can get more people involved, build more of a community in Tucson, because what they have here is pretty inspiring. And yeah.
Will you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Micaela from Tucson, Arizona. I'm the owner of Old Pueblo Hemp Co.
Tell us a little bit about Old Pueblo Hemp Co.
So we like to consider ourselves natural builders in Tucson, but really we like to, we're really specific on hempcrete because we really believe the future of hempcrete, what it's going to bring for the future, or what it's going to bring for future generations even, and for the planet, for the country. So we're really passionate about hemp. And we just really want to bring that hemp building community to Tucson. And we specialize in blocks. We make our own blocks. And we're just wrapping up a big project right now in Tucson for Camp Cooper. We're pretty proud of and hope to get more and more and more.
Yeah, and you're an inventor. Like you've been perfecting this block making device, right?
Yeah, I definitely have. Me and my fabricator friend Clay, we've taken inspiration from older block presses, older machines like the Sinvaram, and really just developed it more into specifically for hemp blocks. And the tools to go with them, and we're really proud of that press, dude. It makes a lot of really great blocks, and it gives the people the power to build their own houses. Yeah, it's really cool.
Is that something that you can replicate and other communities can be doing the same thing that you're doing?
Oh yeah, baby, it's for sale.
Yeah, all right.
Absolutely. It's patent pending right now, and you can either buy the complete fabricated machine that will sell to you, that will deliver to you and show you how to use it, put it on a little workshop, or we can sell you the plans. And if you have an awesome fabricator that can put this together, we can simply sell you the plans too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then what are you doing for a mortar? Not to get too into the weeds here.
And I'd love to talk about micropause because it's such an amazing material. So we use micropause for the binder. Micropause. And so there's a ready mix and a catalyst, but it's your great lime-based binder. It's got a pozzolan, which is a volcanic mineral ash, and it just works really beautifully. So it works beautifully for the binder, for the grout, and you can even use it for the plaster.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So right now I've got a commercial project going on. It's for sleeping cabins for a little camp, an educational camp. But I'm really excited about starting to get into the residential builds and the ADUs and just having just a few beautiful designs that we can replicate over and over and just really get people into these houses now. Because I think we need to document. I think we need to do the air testing quality and just really show people that this is a far, far superior way to be building houses. And people have to see it to believe it. So I really want to start getting in some residential builds in Tucson. That's the goal for this next year is residential. One of the things that blew my mind was when I learned that Samuel, the founder, the owner, the designer, the principal of Micropause, that he's actually using that Micropause to restore the pyramids in Mexico. And I was like, holy crap. I mean, it's so closely related to the ancient lime binders that they used that they're preferring that over any sort of cementitious binder. And so, my God, to think that we're using the same material to restore these pyramids freaking blows my mind. It makes me so happy. I can't wait to just tell everybody about that. That's too cool. And I love hearing Steven talk about non-lime based binders and the other natural binders that he's been using. I mean, it's fascinating, dude. And his materials are so hard. It's really, really cool. So there's just a whole world of natural building and binders and everything that we really need to explore. Hemp is just one of them. Hemp is a freaking fantastic, wonderful one, but it is just one. And so we really need to explore. And I love what Steven said, use what you have locally and perfect that. So I think that's really good advice.
Why is it important that we live in healthy houses?
Yeah, we were just hearing a the speaker here at the symposium talking about all the chemicals in our house and how that even disrupts our children's hormonal systems. And my God, that is so scary to think that just where we're housing our kids are actually poisoning them so much that it's going to affect their hormonal system. This is our future generations and their generations, and my great-grandchildren live in there, and I need to protect these little bodies. And these little bodies are our responsibility. And this is the way to do it. It's this simple. It's this simple to do it. And this makes such a big dang difference in all of our lives. We've got to make it happen.
Now's the time.
We're in a crisis, and we have time to save it. We totally have time to turn things around.
But less time maybe every day.
Less time every day, right? But yeah, like I have a buddy who says, he doesn't want to plan for the apocalypse. He wants to plant paradise. Yeah, and so we got to stop thinking about the end of days, and we just got to focus on now and making today better. Yeah,
beginning. So
exactly.
Let's prepare for the beginning.
Yeah,
right?
let's plant paradise now. Mm-hmm. And that's paradise. This is paradise. This is what paradise makes. Yeah, it's so cool.
Steve Allen, how the heck are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Yep, here in Minnesota at the Lower Sioux.
And it's day 3. It's Sunday of your 3-day
Yeah,
event.
we're on the last section of the whole event with the tours to see existing real hemp buildings, how they were done and what the result is.
So of the past couple of days, was there something that really stuck out to you as a beautiful moment, or something changed for you?
Well, I wouldn't say so much changed as there's many, many beautiful moments. Probably the most forceful, you could say, was right at the beginning when the Red Tree drummers opened up the whole event with the most amazing songs and drumming beats. And then to be presented with blanket and welcomed into the tribe like that was very, very nice, very moving. And ever since then, we just had the most succession of brilliant presentations, all of them really fascinating, all of them seemingly interwoven and correctly enough without really trying to do it exactly. But I had a vague idea of how they might connect in good ways to bring out things that people might not normally present. So yeah, it was a great event like that. And then we had all the fantastic demonstrations, tours, and I think yesterday and the day before, so spraying a teepee.
I heard that was your idea.
It was, yeah. It was, yeah. Well, we were going to spray something, and I thought, well, if we're going to spray something, we need to spray something that's relevant or exceptional in some way, and an obvious shape was a teepee. So I talked to Daniel to see if that was an appropriate thing culturally. Would they have associated with that particularly? And yeah, sure enough, it was. So we went ahead.
Right.
It also proved an ideal shape to spray in that kind of conditions, of the really windy, and as a demonstration, you don't want things to be going wrong. So that fact that it was a sort of sloping structure like that helped.
It was a windy day. It's been a windy few days. Can you describe this wind that we've been experiencing?
Oh, this is nothing to the wind that I know. I live in the west coast of Ireland, so we get the equivalent of hurricanes these days, but we've always had wild storms, especially if you go down towards the coast even more than where I live, which is up in the mountains of just a few miles away. You'll see all the trees are all bent over from the wind, so I don't see much of that around here, and there's a bit of a shaping
so
by the wind.
Unfazed by this wind.
No, I'm just told that it's incredibly hot for it's abnormally hot, and so that that it's been like that, maybe increasingly like that over the last few years. And for sure, that's the thing about climate change, is that for years and years and years nothing changes that's that noticeable, and then suddenly you get a shift, and people will try and assimilate that as normal. But we are getting to the point where it's shifting to levels where it can have a big impact on the wildlife or nature or agriculture or whatever, or it becomes dangerous where people aren't aware that it's getting that 2 or 3 degrees hotter in that week, and maybe even 4 degrees hotter, and maybe then there's a huge heat wave, and people aren't really able to survive that, especially as you get older.
Which is why we need to act together as communities and figure this out.
Well, it's taking it seriously, and you can talk about sustainability, but you can also talk about resilience building, and that means being prepared for inevitable things. And so unfortunately it's not not possible to convince everybody to change, why they should change, and to change as soon as they possibly can to alter their lifestyles in order to be as less impact on the planet as possible. And that's virtually impossible because it's such a huge educational job to start with. And then when you've got people acting as sort of like misinformation agents, refusing to accept any level of change because they don't want to change. They're doing very well as they are, thank you very much. They don't want to be changing because that might not be so good. So we just have to prepare for what's coming down the line anyway.
So does that make your work kind of quixotic in a way? Like, are you Sisyphus rolling the rock up the hill? Like,
no. The rolls, there's not that much of a hill, I don't think. It's just a matter of those that understand will make the right decisions. And if you've got a home that takes very little energy costs and is comfortable and healthy all year round, you've got a great space to base your life forward, whatever decisions you make or whatever. And so that is a way of resisting the changes that are coming. You've got a good place to live. The more people see that, the more time we manage to squeeze it into ourselves before some sort of impending tipping point, then the better it will be.
Are you an optimist?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have to be. I've got children and grandchildren. You have to be an optimist, otherwise what the hell are you doing?
Steve Allen, it's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
So eventually the symposium came to an end. After the presentations, after lunch, after the tours of the various hempcrete houses the tribe has built on the reservation, eventually the wind started to die down. People checked out of the hotel, started to make their way home. So I am really grateful for my time there in Minnesota. I was only there for 3, 4, 5 days, but I've been there all month long now. And I can't wait to get back, and I know that I'll be back there again someday. So anyway, thank you all for listening to this special trilogy about my time in Cansayapi, the place where they paint the trees red. And thank you to the people of the Lower Sioux, the Tribal Council, Danny and the hemp crew, and everybody else involved. I feel very welcomed when I'm there on the Lower Sioux. It's a fantastic trip. Steve Allen over there in Europe, thank you for doing what you do. And just a heads up, the next episode you'll hear after this will be a special 70th anniversary episode. Wait, I've been doing the podcast for 70 years? No, Lancaster Farming Newspaper has been publishing every week since 1955. And we will be publishing a special episode next week to commemorate that. So, thank you for listening. My name is Eric Herlock. I am the senior digital editor here at Lancaster Farming Newspaper, the greatest agricultural newspaper in the world. Check us out online at lancasterfarming.com. Get a subscription, sign up for our newsletter, read a story about agriculture. There's something there for everyone. Until next time, I'll see you in the newspaper.
This episode of The Hemp Show was written, recorded, and produced by Eric Herlock. Mixing and mastering by Justin Berger. Music by Eric Herlock, with additional music from Blue Dot Sessions. The Hemp Show is copyright 2025 by Lancaster Farming Newspaper, part of the Steinman Communications family.